All right, so welcome everyone and good morning. Welcome to our pilot episode of our NSTP webinar series. Today's program is designed to deepen our understanding of the Philippine Constitution and voters' education. And as part of NSTP, this activity highlights our role not only as students, but also as responsible citizens who are empowered to mark informed choices of our nation's future. And on behalf of the NSTP unit, we warmly welcome our esteemed guests and leaders who are with us today. First, let us acknowledge the presence of our Chief Center for Curriculum Development and Innovative Learning, Professor Luby Hazel C. Aquino. Let us give her a round of applause, please. Maraming salamat po. And
Morning.
also, let us welcome our NSTP Chief Engineer Jonas de la Cruz, whose leadership continues to guide our NSTP program. Good morning, Sir Jonas.
Good morning, sir.
And to our NSTP facilitators of Mariano Marcos State University, thank you for your commitment in molding our students into service-oriented individuals. And of course, our NSTP students, your participation today is a reflection of your readiness to learn, to serve, and to take part in nation building. Now, to help us better understand the Philippine Constitution and voter education, we are very much privileged to hear from someone who brings both academic expertise and practical insight. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very much elated to introduce a dedicated faculty member of the Department of Sociology here at Mariano Marcos State University. Alongside his teaching responsibilities, he's also a third-year student at Mariano Marcos State University College of Law, where he continues to strengthen his expertise in legal studies. With his combined background in sociology and law, Mr. Garcia brings a unique perspective that connects social issues with legal frameworks, an approach very valuable to our discussion today. He will be sharing his insights on the Philippine Constitution and voter education, topics that are not now central to our NSTP course, but also essential for us as responsible and informed citizens. Let us all give a warm welcome to our lecturer for today, Mr. Neil Archie Garcia. Sir Neil?
Good morning to all our students. So today, I will be discussing empowered citizenship. And yung pag-uusapan natin ngayon is actually divided into three parts. Okay, so first one, we will talk about a brief history of our constitutions and their significance. Pangalawa, we will delve into the 1987 Constitution primarily with the Bill of Rights or yung mga tinatawag nating constitutional rights natin. And then finally, to sum it up or to conclude our event for today, we will talk about voters' education, primarily on the importance of the youth as voters. Okay, so let me start with the first part. Okay, so ayan. So brief history of our constitutions and their significance. So I place here yung mga constitution natin from the beginning of our country up until to the present constitution, which is the 1987 constitution. Okay, so we have here 1899 Malolos Constitution. But for those na mahilig siguro sa history, you will know or you know already na mayroon din tayong 1897 Biak na Bato Constitution. However, I did not place that because that was not fully implemented. Dahil alam natin just a few months after that na dissolve yung Biak na Bato Republic. So we will be starting with the 1899 Malolos Constitution. So following that, ang technically pangalawang constitution natin is the 1935 Constitution, which was implemented during the Commonwealth era, panahon ni Quezon. But I think it's also important that we talk about yung mga parang constitution na rin natin nung panahon ng American colonization. So, actually tatlo yun. So, yung tatlo na yun are actually the foundation of the 1935 Constitution. So, pag-aaralan natin yun mamaya. And then, kasabay ng 1935 Constitution, while we were under the Commonwealth era, or basically under the guidance of the United States of America, alam din natin sa history class natin that was also during the time of World War II. So, aside from 1935, nag-e-exist din or implemented din noon ang 1943 Constitution under naman sa mga Japanese colonizers natin. So, sa mga bansa or areas in our country that were formally colonized by Japan, 1943 yung fina-follow nila. But for the American, Filipino soldiers fought the Japanese during that time, mga guerrilla natin, they were following the 1935 Constitution. Okay? And then of course, after we gain our independence in July 4, 1946, and that was tapos na din yung World War II, we returned to 1935 Constitution. Nagpatuloy yan hanggang 1973, noong panahon na ni Ferdinand Marcos Sr. Ayan, at binago yan noong 1973. At magbabago na naman yung constitution natin in 1986 due to the People Power Revolution na alam kong alam nating lahat. And of course, our current constitution, which is the 1987 Constitution. Alright, so simulan natin with the first one, 1899 Malolos Constitution. So I will not focus much on the dates or particular facts. Okay, wag na nating problemahin yun. Basta alam na lang natin yung date. Okay, di kita mansari, di kita jowa yung panunutin yun, di ba? Wag yun nang idagdag tong na-memorize. Okay, so basically it's in 1899, yeah. And it was done in Malolos, Bulacan. Okay? May taga Bulacan ba dito? Ayan. So bakit siya napakahalaga? For these reasons. First is it's the constitution written by Filipinos for Filipinos. Meaning, alam natin before that time, before 1899, we all know that we were colonized by the Spaniards. And ang constitution natin is basically the constitution of the Spanish. We were ruled by the Spaniards through a governor general in the Philippines. So it was a big deal that we, in 1899, as a Filipino people, stood up against the Spaniards and finally claim our independence. Okay? Ito yung constitution natin sa Malolos Republic. Yan yung in-announce natin nung independence natin nung June 12, 1898. Okay? Another significance, it's the first Republican constitution in Asia. This tells us how progressive the Philippines actually is. Okay? Nung panahon na yan, karamihan ng mga bansa sa Asia are actually empires or kingdoms. So they were ruled by an emperor or they were ruled by a king, by a monarch. Yung mga neighbors natin sa Southeast Asia, they were still colonized by the Dutch, by the French. But as we already gained our independence during this time. So malalaman natin mamaya what is the meaning of Republican, but to give you an overview, pag sinabi nating Republican, it's a form of government wherein we elect people and who elect the leaders of our government are the people. Sa madaling salita, tayo yung may kapangyarihan na pumili ng mga leaders natin. That's a Republican government. And pangatlo, we declared the separation of the church and the state. Yung mga may PI1, I think na nandito na kayo. So, alam natin na napakahalaga yung separation ng church and state. Before, alam natin during the Spanish Empire, karamihan ng mga abuses, karamihan ng mga kahirapan na naranas ng ating mga ninuno ay sa kamay ng simbahan, ng mga fraile. So, it was a big deal to separate the church and the state. And it also provided basic rights such as freedom of speech and expression, freedom to form groups or organizations. So, freedom to petition, meaning you can complain to the government. Pwede mong sabihin sa government yung mga suggestions mo, yung mga problema ng government na sa tingin mo dapat nilang solusyonan. Right to due process. So, alam na natin yan. Hindi ka pwedeng ikulong na lang basta-basta. Hindi ka pwedeng i-torture. So, right to due process. And then, right to vote for local and provincial assembly members. So, again, this is the first time that in Asia, we gave the people the right to vote for their leaders. Okay, so, we voted for basically, ang katumbas nito in the present time are your governors, mayors. Okay, so we voted for them in 1899 through the 1899 Constitution. So, and by the way, kilala niyo ba itong nakaupo dito? This is actually Apolinario Mabini, our brain of the revolution, or ang ama ng ang utak ng revolusyon. He is the main writer of the Malolos Constitution. And of course, ang president at that time is si Emilio Aguinaldo. Ito pala yung church ng Malolos. Dito ginanap yung Malolos Congress, unang Malolos Congress. Fun fact, with this constitution, did you know that Palau was once part of the Philippines and had a representative in the Malolos Congress? Ayan, so madaming hindi nakakalam dito, but Palau and the Islas Carolinas or the Caroline Islands, ito na yun yung present day Federated State of Micronesia, and of course Palau, was once ruled at the same time with the Philippines. Yung sentro ng kanilang government is in Manila. They were all part of the La Islas de Filipinas. Okay. And of course Guam. Pero ang in-invite lang ni na Aguinaldo is yung representative ng Palau. So part sila ng Malolos Congress, and therefore part sila ng government natin at that time. Okay, and another fun fact, what's so interesting in the 1899 Malolos Constitution is yung president natin, si Emilio Aguinaldo, was not chosen by the whole Filipinos. Hindi siya ginanap through general election wherein lahat tayo boboto. Hindi. Ang pumili sa kanya, ang may karapatan lang na bumoto sa presidente is yung mga members ng assembly. Now, sino ba ang assembly? Ito yung mga present day lawmakers natin. Parang sila yung mga senators and congressmen. Back then, ang tawag sila nila is assembly. Okay, so, ayan. So, ito yung sinasabi ko, there was no Senate or House of Representatives back then. So, walang upper house, walang lower house, but may tinatawag tayo noon na Assembly of Representatives. And another interesting sa constitution na to is yung assembly mismo ang pipili ng Chief Justice. Kasi sa present day, ang pumipili or ang nag-a-appoint ng Chief Justice natin is the President. Okay, so interesting lang kasi if you know what is happening right now, di ba? Yung impeachment ni Vice President Sara. So imagine na sila Senator Escudero, yung mga senators natin ang pipili ng Chief Justice today. So for sure conflict of interest 'yun sa ngayon sana, di ba? So these are things that were put into place during the Malolos Constitution, and these are very significant because it will shape later on yung 1987 Constitution natin. So remember them. Okay, pangalawa is the American colonization. So unang batas dyan, one of the three is the 1902 Philippine Organic Act, or mas kilala sa tawag na Cooper Act or Cooper Act. Cooper Act kasi yung author nito is, ang pangalan is Cooper. He is actually a lawmaker in the USA. So, anong significance naman nito? Dito natin, or dito finormalize ng USA yung kanilang civil government sa Pilipinas. Because before that, alam natin, the Philippine-American War, we were ruled or we were colonized through a military government. Okay? But then in 1902, okay, naging mas peaceful na yung pag-colonize nila sa atin, and they established a civil government. What's the significance of this one? They created the Philippine Assembly. Katumbas yan ng House of the Representatives. Yun yung mga congressmen natin ngayon. So, Philippine Assembly ang tawag noon. Ang mga members dyan ay mga Filipino, and ang nag-e-elect dyan ay tayo din, mga Filipino. However, medyo mahina lang tong power na ito because yung Philippine Commission, yung mga parang senator, ang member naman yan is the American Governor General. Ang leader niyan is the American Governor General. At lahat ng members dyan ay ina-appoint ng Amerika. So, ayan. So, well, it's a good thing. Binigyan nila ng kapangyarihan yung mga Filipino to be part of the lower house. But, again, hindi siya, in reality, hindi siya ganun ka-effective. So, another important na nangyari sa 1902 Philippine Organic Act is the reorganization of the Roman Catholic Church. Okay, during this time kasi, in our point of history, yung mga Spanish friars hindi pa umaalis sa Pilipinas. Okay, napaalis na natin yung government mismo, pero yung mga Spanish citizens, especially the Spanish friars, na iwan sila sa Pilipinas, and they were still in control of our churches. So, what they did here is they forced the Spanish to turn over the churches to the Filipino priests. And at the same time, yung mga hacienda nila, yung mga friar lands or church lands, binenta pabalik sa mga Filipino. Okay? Sa mga magsuksaywan or PI1, ito yung magiging issue natin sa agrarian reform. Ayan, dito yan nagsisimula. Okay? And dito magsisimula yung Bill of Rights. Okay? Balikan natin. Dito meron na tayong mga human rights. Itong mga to. However, sa 1902 Philippine Organic Act, mas in-emphasize yun. They created a specific section or article called the Bill of Rights, wherein nandito yung, for example, yung right to life, right to property, right to exercise religion, right to due process, and freedom of expression. Yan. So, alam natin hanggang ngayon we have this. Okay, so, and after this one, in 1916, nung nakakalahati na nila yung kanilang pag-i-stay sa Pilipinas, they established or they promulgated the 1916 Jones Law. Ang tawag din dito is Philippine Autonomy Act. Okay, why autonomy? Why Autonomy Act? Kasi binago yung pangalan ng lower house at upper house. So ito na, nagsisimula na yung Philippine Senate and the House of Representatives. At kung dati sa 1902, yung House of Representatives lang ang binovote natin, this time pareho na. Even the Senate, even the upper house ay ine-elect na ng mga Filipino. So this was a big deal in ensuring that the autonomy of our country, kung paano pinapatakbo yung bansa natin, is nasa kamay ng mga Filipino. Although, again, yung pinaka-head pa rin ng Pilipinas at that time is an American or the Americans. Okay, let's take a look yung mga una nating senador. Okay, no malasin nyo. Ayan, mga ano sila eh. So may 12 na senators noon. Basahin ko na lang yung mga trabaho nila. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 of them are lawyers. Okay. Yung isa is theologian and yung isa is a physician or a doctor. So makikita natin dito na they were really educated. Ayan. Not throwing shades, pero tignan natin yung composition ng mga senators natin ngayon, di ba? So back then they were really expert of the law. They were really so nandito yung mga teachers. Actually may isa pang teacher, lawyer teacher, yung isa lawyer journalist, di ba? So talagang maganda yung kanilang background as senators, as leaders of our country. Hindi ko lang alam ngayon kung anong nangyari sa mga senators natin. Parang mga artista na lahat. Okay. Well, I must move forward. Okay. And finally, in 1934, nagkaroon tayo ng Tidings-McDuffie Act. Mas kilala ito sa tawag na Philippine Independence Act. Okay, kasi this law basically allowed the creation of the Commonwealth and of course yung the 1935 Constitution. So dito basically sinasabi sa batas na ito na we will give you our independence. So gagawa muna tayo ng Commonwealth and after that we will give you your independence. Okay, so ayan. So itong tatlong law na to, the 1902 Philippine Organic Act, the Jones Law, and the Tidings-McDuffie Act will be the foundation of the 1935 Constitution. Yung Constitution natin during the Commonwealth era at gagamitin yan hanggang sa Third Republic, hanggang sa panahon ni President Marcos Sr. Anong significance ng Constitution na ito? First one, it strengthened the Bill of Rights. Compared sa mga naunang constitution, dinagdag ko dito yung mga bago. Okay, so one of the novel rights provided here in the 1935 Constitution is the privacy of communication. So na-emphasize ito. And another one is the ban on ex post facto law and Bill of Attainder. Anong ibig sabihin ng ex post facto law? Ang ibig sabihin lang niyan is you make an action illegal that was legal when committed. Okay, parang ganito yan. So for example, ngayon, today is, ano ba ngayon? August 23, 2025. So for example, may ginawa akong bagay. So for example, pumitas ako ng flower sa sunken garden. Okay? So August 23, 2025, pumitas ako ng flower sa sunken garden natin. And then December 2025, magkakaroon ng batas ng government natin na bawal nang pumitas ng flower sa mga school. Pag pumitas ka, you will be punished with 2 years imprisonment. Okay. Now, the government arrested me and imprisoned me. Okay, so that would be an example of ex post facto law. Kasi wala pa namang law nung ginawa ko 'yun. So hindi pa siya illegal at that time, 'di ba? Kung ginawa ko sana yan ng January after nang magkaroon ng law na ganun, 'yun yung bawal. Okay? So ex post facto law 'yun. Okay? So another example of ex post facto law is pinataas yung punishment. Nung ginawa ko yung crime, yung punishment for example is 1 year lang. Tapos gumawa sila ng bagong law. Tapos yung punishment na is 2 years. So ang instead na 1 year ang i-apply sa akin, ang in-apply is 2 years. So that's another example of ex post facto law. Basically it's unfair kasi hindi mo pa naman ginagawa dati pero ang in-apply is yung bago. And bill of attainder meaning ikukulong or paparusahan yung isang tao without any trial. Ayan, yun lang ang ibig sabihin ng bill of attainder. Diba? So again, it's very clear yung due process natin, the importance of due process. Okay. Hindi ko alam, kumakalat ngayon sa SOCMED na okay lang pumatay ng kriminal, di ba? Dami akong nakikitang mga estudyante. Okay lang pumatay, criminal damit, di ba? Well, nakasaad sa constitution natin kahit nung una pang panahon, the importance of due process. Okay, so ayan. And this is very important. So this will connect later on sa last topic natin. It provided the rights of suffrage, meaning the right to vote. Okay? Suffrage means the right to vote. Okay, but take note here, ang binigyan lang ng karapatan na bumoto is yung mga male citizens. And another one, take note, hindi lang basta male citizens. They must be at least 21 years old and, again, take note, able to read and write. Dapat literate sila. Okay? Well, to compare ngayon sa 1987 Constitution, ang requirement natin is 18 years old. Tapos kahit hindi ka marunong magsulat, kahit hindi ka marunong magbasa, you can still vote. Diba? So di kita duma, di kita hana nakapagbasa ti elim or high school, or di kita hana magbasa. No makita yun no kon election, ang damang kuyog kanyada ay. Okay, so ayan, malaking difference ito because during this time, only the literate ang pwedeng bumoto and you must be at least 21 years old. But 2 years after, nagkaroon na din ng right yung mga babae to vote. Okay, ginawa to via plebiscite, meaning boboto yung mga tao, yung taong bayan. And 91% of the population voted na bigyan ng karapatan ang mga babae na bumoto. So, that's a very good thing. Actually, we are one of the, sabi ko nga kanina, we are one of the most progressive nations in Asia. Okay? Tayo ang isa sa mga unang bansa sa mundo na inacknowledge yung karapatan ng mga babae para bumoto. So, it's a big win for the feminists. Yung mga unang feminists natin sa Pilipinas. And itong may malaking portrait dito, ito yung asawa ni President Manuel Quezon. Ito yung kanyang asawa, the First Lady. Ayan. And okay, so that's the 1935 Constitution. Babalik tayo mamaya dyan kasi alam natin, mapuputol ang Commonwealth kasi magkakaroon ng World War II at papasok ang mga Japanese. Ayan. So, anong mangyari dito? Well, may establish yung 1943 Constitution. Again, it's important to take note here na ang presidente, hindi taong bayan ang bumoboto sa kanya. Pinipili lamang siya ng National Assembly. So, National Assembly, again, yung mga congressman, yung mga senators. Okay. Pero sa Assembly, kabilang dito yung mga governors at mga mayors. So, nung governor ka or city mayor ka, automatic nga member ka ti Assembly. Automatic nga lawmakers ka. So, imagine that right now, tayo ni Governor Cecilia Marcos would also be a lawmaker, okay, part of the Congress. So parang ganun. Okay. In terms of our constitutional rights, walang masyadong pinagbago. Actually it's the same. Binago lang yung wording pero yung gist is the same. Okay, so yan, after the war, okay, babalik tayo sa 1935 Constitution. Ayan. Mag-a-apply yan hanggang sa 1973. So, ilang presidents na ang dumaan yan, ha? Take note, ha? Madami ng presidents ang dumaan dyan, but we never changed the Constitution. Until binago yan ni President Marcos Sr., ito na yung second part ng kanyang presidency. Okay, second part na to. This was after the declaration of the martial law in 1972. Ma-abolish lang tong constitution na to because of the 1986 People Power Revolution or the EDSA 1. Okay, significance ng constitution na ito. Okay, ayan. I'll be honest, madami sa atin associate this constitution with a lot of negative things. But let's try to look at the significance or the bright side of this constitution. Una dyan is ito, binigyan tayo ng voting rights na karapatang bumoto to all citizens, lahat ng tao, lahat ng Filipino. Basta 18 years old ka, you can vote. You have the right to vote. Hindi kailangan na marunong kang magbasa, hindi kailangan marunong kang magsulat, hindi kailangan na may required na property ka or may required na kayamanan ka. Wala. As long as you are 18 and you are a citizen of the Philippines, you have the right to vote. Ayan. So, malaking malaking bagay yan na pagpapatuloy natin hanggang ngayon. And of course, it started to empower local government units. Dati kasi parang walang masyadong power or authority itong mga mayors, governors natin. Pero with this, the 1973 Constitution, nabigyan sila ng formal powers or mas specific na powers. Ayan. So, interesting fact also here, yung president at vice president natin, again, hindi tao ang bumuboto sa kanila. I mean, hindi taong bayan. Ang bumoboto or pumipili sa ating president and vice president ay the National Assembly or the batasang pambansa. Again, yung mga present-day congressmen and senators natin. Interesting here is nagkaroon tayo ng prime minister. So for a short period of time, nag-transition tayo sa parliamentary system. But later on, i-amend ito kasi at babalik tayo sa semi-presidential system. So may prime minister, pero at the same time, mayroong president. Ayan. But it was, di ba, malaking katanungan din yan ngayon, yung what if parliamentary system tayo? May mga prime ministers tayo. Well, mayroon na tayong ganyan noon, or at least in essence, in 1973. And of course, the 1986 Provisional Constitution. In the technical sense, in strict sense, hindi siya actually constitution talaga. Okay? However, let's consider this as a constitution kasi during this time, in 1986, after ng People Power Revolution, technically wala tayong working government. Kaya nag-issue si President Aquino ng presidential resolution. Ito yun, natatawagin nating 1986 Provisional or Freedom Constitution. Okay. What's the importance of this one? So, it will pave the way for the 1987 Constitution. It mandated the leaders of our country to create the 1987 Constitution. And interesting fact, si President Aquino, dahil nga walang working government at that time, naging siya ang executive and legislative powers. So President Suna, at the same time, she were also making laws. So, interesting yan. Diba? So, kakaiba yung power na yan. But itong 1986, it's only for 1 year. Kasi in 1987, magkakaroon na tayo ng the 1987 Constitution, which is hanggang ngayon ay hindi pa nababago. Okay, wala pang amendments. Diba? So, ilang taon na yan. Right? So, mas ano pa to? Siguro mas matanda pa sa atin ito, for sure. 30 plus years na ito. Ayan, mas matibay sa mga relationships ito. Okay. Well, so Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Take note, meaning siya yung pinakamataas na law sa isang bansa. Okay, so lahat ng law natin na gagawin natin, it should be based on the Constitution. Kung hindi yan nag-agree sa Constitution or kung contrary yan sa Constitution natin, lahat yung law na yan is magiging unconstitutional, meaning wala siyang effect, hindi siya totoo, wala siyang yun nga, unconstitutional, wala siyang effect. Okay, so remember that Constitution, lahat ng laws natin, it should be based on the Constitution. Ito din, let's be clear on this one kasi madaming hindi nakakaalam nito. Kasi 'di ba, sabi natin, ang Constitution, it's the supreme law of the land. Lahat ng batas natin dapat sumunod sa Constitution. However, meron tayong mga tinatawag na non-self-executing provisions. Okay, so i-clarify natin itong. So basically, lahat ng provisions ng Constitution natin nakakategorize into two. So the first one, self-executing. Ito yung mga provisions na effective immediately. Hindi natin kailangan ng batas for them to be effective. Okay? The very fact that they are mentioned in the Constitution, batas na sila, effective na sila. So example niyan is the Bill of Rights na pag-uusapan natin mamaya. Mayroon naman tayong mga non-self-executing. Ito yung mga batas na parang ano lang, sinasabi lang ng government natin pero parang gagawin pa lang. Ganun. Okay? So we believe in this pero later na gagawin na natin mamaya. Ganun. Mga procrastinator din pala yung mga ano natin, drafters ng Constitution. Joke lang. So example niyan is the anti-dynasty provision. So nakalagay sa Constitution actually natin na bawal ang political dynasty. Pero alam naman natin na parang family corporation na ang politics ay nag-aama, nagkakabsat, nag-iina, kakasinsi, nag-asawa. Sa Senado na lang, di ba? Daming magkakapatid doon sa Senado. Parang family reunion. Okay, so ayan. Yung mga Declaration of State Principles, yung Article 2 ng Constitution natin, karamihan din doon ay mga non-self-executing provision. Okay, so tignan lang natin yung mga key principles ng Constitution natin before tayo pumunta sa Bill of Rights. Kasi ito yung mga foundation ng constitutional rights natin. First one is we are a democratic and republican state. Again, anong importance na tayo ay democratic at the same time republic. Parang redundant, no? Okay, democratic and republic. But basically, it emphasizes here na, again, pag sinabi natin kasing Republican, tayo bilang mga taong bayan, tayo ang pipili ng leaders natin. Okay? We have the power to elect who rules us. Okay? That's Republican. Okay? Pero pag sinabi nating democratic, mas matindi to, mas malala to. Meaning, ang power ng government nasa atin. Ang pinakamakapangyarihan sa bansa natin ay tayong taong bayan, hindi yung mga officials natin. That's democratic. So it emphasizes here yung ginawa natin noong People Power Revolution. Diba? Walang votation, walang election. Nagkaroon lang ng matinding rally all over the country. And we change our government. So that's democratic. Okay? If you remember, yung Republican natin, medyo mahina yan kasi you look at the previous constitutions, the older constitutions, hindi natin ine-elect yung president. Yung mga congressman, mga senators lang ang pumipili ng president. So yung 1987 constitution natin, it's a combination of both. So alam na natin yan, from president, senators, congressman, hanggang sa pinakamababang position, ine-elect natin lahat yan via a popular vote, or meaning lahat tayo, buong taong bayan bumoboto. Okay. Ayan, so that's very important. Remember class, na ang power nasa atin bilang mga tao, bilang taong bayan. The power resides in the people. So, pangalawa, separation of the church and the state. So, ayan, it's very clear. Nung panahon ng Spanish, alam natin na magkapareho ang church at state. Iisa yan. They work side by side. They hold the same power. Pero ngayon, we have separated them. Later on, malalaman natin the importance of this one. But alam ko, karamihan sa inyo are taking PI1 So, we will discuss this one. And of course, freedom from nuclear weapons. Ayan. Madami akong nakikita sa SOCMED natin The Philippines is weak. Hindi nila kayang gumawa ng nuclear weapon. Mga mahihinang nila lang. Well, aside from that is nakasaad kasi sa constitution natin na bawal tayong mag-develop ng nuclear weapon. Okay? Inilagay ko na lang yung saan nyo yan matatagpuan. So, hanapin nyo na lang to save time. Okay? So, but again, hindi tayo mahina, hindi mahina or bobo ang mga scientists natin sa Pilipinas. Sadya lang na talagang bawal kasi ang nuclear weapon sa atin. And these are very emphasized in the 1987 Constitution. Role of the youth. Ayan, so the government must support the youth and promote patriotism. Kaya nga may NSTP kayo. Kaya nga may CWATS, may ROTC. Daming events natin sa school that focuses on patriotism. Okay? Let's not forget that the youth, sabi nga ni Rizal, medyo overuse nga phrase it's very important, di ba? Ang kabataan ng pag-asa ng bayan. Okay. Sabi ng United Nations nga, the youth are the agents of change. Okay, so nasa kamay natin ang pagbabago, literal yan. So, ayan. Role of women, again, we are a very progressive nation, contrary to many claims. We're actually progressive kasi we acknowledge that women are equal before our government, before the law. Madami tayong magagandang batas towards gender equality and protecting the women from abuses and discrimination. And mapag-aaralan nyo naman yan sa gender and society ninyo. And of course, the right to a healthy environment. Everyone has the right to a balanced and healthful ecology. So, this one is very important. Also, sa Pilipinas, tayo ang isa sa mga may pinaka-progressive, again, progressive. Isa sa mga pinakamagandang laws in environmental law. Madami tayong magagandang batas in environmental law. Okay, tayo yung mga, actually, ginagawa tayong basis or at least a guide of other nations sa environmental law. So, ayan. May joke nga kami sa College of Law. Nagkwento na ako. So, no hamo isungbat mo the environmental law, just use this line. Everyone has the right to a balanced and healthful ecology. Super powerful nito. Okay? In practicality, ganito ito. Kahit hindi ikaw mismo yung direct na biktima niyan, you can file a case. You can complain to the government. So for example, deta kung example lang For example, deta kung Batak River tayo ko poisonous deta. Siya kanak taga Batak, hanak met uminom ta danom dita or hanak met nga hangkot maigigaman deta danom ita Batak River. But I can file a case. Okay, kasi lahat tayo ay maapektuhan yan. We are part of the environment. Okay? Everyone has the right to a balanced and healthful ecology. Actually, pwede nga nating i-represent yung mga animals eh. May ganun tayong jurisprudence. Di ba? Hindi naman nakakapagsalita yung animals. Pero yung mga nangyayari sa mga animals, yung mga masasamang nangyayari sa mga animals due to climate change, global warming, due to pollution, pwede nating i-complain yan. Tayo mismo bilang mga tayo na taong bayan ang gagalaw. Okay, so last key principle that I want to mention is ito. Well, alam natin sa bansa natin medyo mahirap, no? Yung divorce law, the same time yung abortion law, mahirap silang ipasa, not only because we are a conservative country or not only because hindi pinapakinggan ng mga current senators and congressmen natin, but because it's really embedded in the 1987 Constitution. Nakasaad yan sa Constitution natin. Basahin natin sa Section 12. The state recognizes the sanctity of family life and shall protect and strengthen the family as a basic autonomous social institution. So, ayan. Ang pinapahalagahan ng state natin is the sanctity. Dapat buo yung pamilya over maghiwalay yung pamilya. Okay? Pangalawa, it shall equally protect the life of the mother and take note, the life of the unborn from conception. So, ayan. Yung mga debates natin sa abortion, medyo magkakagulo kayo dito sa 1987 Constitution natin. Kasi from the moment of conception, pinoprotektahan na ng state natin yung buhay na yan. So, so if we want, just my opinion, if we want divorce law, if we want abortion law in the Philippines, it's a long battle. Kailangan baguhin muna natin yung 1987 Constitution. Okay. Ayan, so before we go to constitutional rights, I want you to also know yung tatlong powers ng state. Okay, may kapangyarihan ng state. Ito yung tatlo na hindi pwedeng mawala sa isang state, sa isang government. Una dyan is the police power. Okay, hindi yung literal na police act. Okay, iba yun. So police power meaning the power to make and implement laws for public welfare. So for the sake of public interest, para sa kapakanan ng nakakarami, pwede mong i-regulate, pwede mong pagbawalan yung isang tao. Okay? Kahit na may constitutional right siya, kahit may privilege siya given by our constitution, given by our laws, in the interest of the public, pagbabawalan mo siya. Okay, that's police power. Okay, for example, datayo amin at the right ng ag-travel, di ba? Pero mayroon tayong driver's license, di ba? That's a privilege. Having a private driver's license is a privilege. Okay, so ayan, constitutional right, pwede kang umalis kung gusto mo. Kung mag-travel ka, well, go, pero kailangan may driver's license ka. Okay. Another one, pwede kang well, later pag-uusapan natin. But basically, I'm giving you yung mga pwedeng kumontra mamaya sa constitutional right natin. Okay. Kasi may ano kasi tayo kaisipan tayo constitutional right. Ure na to Ibrahim. I have my constitutional right kung kuna tayo. But in reality, may limitations yan. May hangganan yan. Okay, so pangalawa is the eminent domain. Ayan. Again, we have a constitutional right to property. Diba? Kung pag-aari mo, sa'yo yan. Walang pakialam ang tao, ibang tao dyan. Walang pakialam ang government dyan. Kasi sa'yo nga yan, di ba? However, kung gagamitin yan for the public, pwedeng agawin yan, pwedeng kunin yan ng government, basta bayaran ka with just compensation. Ito yung mga nangyayari sa mga ano natin, mga yung construction of highways, construction of public buildings, ayan. Taxation, okay, basic na yan sa mga taga-Sibeya. So, meaning, nagbabayad tayo ng buwis. May contribution tayo sa government kasi without taxes, the government cannot function, di ba? Anong tawag doon, mga Sibeya students? Anong doctrine iyon? Alam niyo na yan. Okay, so ayan. So again, take note of this one. Okay, although we have constitutional rights, they are limited by the powers of the state. So itong tatlo na to, it's basically for the public interest. Okay? It's para sa kapakanan ng nakakarami, basically. Okay? So, ayan. So we now go to the Bill of Rights. So the Bill of Rights applies only against the government. Take note ang constitutional right, defense mo lang yan against the government. Pwede mo lang gamitin ito kung nagrereklamo ka against the government, against public officials, against public employees. Kung kapareho mong citizen yan, kung private company yan, hindi yan Bill of Rights. Okay? It is covered by other laws. For example, the Civil Code. Okay? So, take note yan. Madaming naguguluhan kasi siya. Okay? So, take note. It does not apply against private individuals or companies, only against the government. Another one na kailangan nating i-take note, human rights over property rights. Mas mahalaga, although pareho tong constitutional right, although parehong pinapahalagan ito ng government, in terms of conflict, mas uunahin natin of course yung human rights, di ba? Mas mahalaga pa rin ang buhay ng isang tao kaysa sa gamit. For example, may tinatawag tayong right of property. So bawal ang trespassing, di ba? Bawal ang trespassing. Pero what if may humahabol sa'yo na gustong pumatay sa'yo? So kailangan mong magtago doon sa bahay na yon, magtago sa lote na iyon. So, di ba? Pwedeng apakan for the meantime yung right mo to your property kasi importante yung buhay ng tao na yun. Okay? Another one is kapag may for example nasa ship kayo, nasa cruise ship kayo tapos palubog na yung barko, kailangan yung itapon yung mga maleta ninyo para mas save yung barko. So gagawin yun kahit may right ka sa property mo, mas mahalaga yung buhay ng tao. So human rights over property rights. And ito, mabilis na lang tayo. The right to life, liberty, and property. Ayan. Kasama na dyan yung right to enjoy life. So, buhay mo yan. Diba? buhay mo yan. Okay? May kalayaan ka. So, bakit ako matatakot, di ba? Bakit tayo matatakot? Matatakot lang tayo kapag yung right to life natin, yung pag-e-enjoy natin sa buhay natin ay nakakasama sa ibang tao. Doon lang tayo matatakot. Okay. Pangalawa, right to due process. This one, madami dito. Okay? For example, hindi right against self-incrimination na mga balin isagmak, tibugod mga bagi. Right to counsel. Okay? Kailangan may abogado ka. Kung wala kang pera pang kuha ng abogado, ang government ang magbibigay ng abogado sa'yo. Okay? Hindi ka basta makukulong, kailangan dumaan ka sa trial. Okay? Hindi ka basta ma-arrest, kailangan may warrant of arrest. Hindi basta-basta na isi-search ka, kailangan may search warrant. Mga bagay na ganun, those are right to due process. Okay? And so it's very alarming na may nakikita akong mga tao na I won't be political, but it's very obvious na ang extrajudicial killings ay unconstitutional. Isang malaking, it's a grave violation of our Constitution because it is contrary to the right to due process. Okay. So, kahit sino pang presidente yan, kahit sino pang officials yan, the same way, we have to acknowledge that EJK are a grave violation of our rights. Ayan. Pangatlo, equal protection of laws. Di ba? Kupal ka ba? Di ba? Aray ko. Di ba? Bawal kupal. Di ba? Mayaman, mahirap, lahat tayo pantay-pantay sa tingin ng batas natin. Di ba? Equal protection of laws. Walang unfair treatment, okay? Walang discrimination, walang undue favor. Lahat tayo pantay-pantay sa mata ng batas. Okay? So, this is very important, equal protection of laws. And of course, the right against unreasonable searches and seizure. Okay, ito, medyo pag-uusapan natin ito kasi very relatable ito. Lalo na yung mga nagda-drive, may driver's license, or yung mga walang driver's license, basta nagda-drive, di ba? Search warrant, okay? Hindi ka pwedeng kapkapan, hindi ka pwedeng hanapan without a search warrant. At yung search warrant na yan, it should be specific. Take note, specific. Kailangang i-specify mo kung ano yung lugar na hahanapin mo. At kung bagay naman yan, kung kukunin mo naman yung isang bagay, dapat specific din. Nakasaad doon, nakadescribe. Okay, so I will give you an example. Sa search warrant nakalagay, ganito na. Sabihin na lang natin na ang MMSU compound is private compound. Kumbaga, hindi to MMSU compound. This is my mansion. Sabihin na lang natin. The MMSU is my private mansion. Okay? So, ang nakalagay sa search warrant is, I will search the whole MMSU compound. Valid ba na search warrant yon? Hindi yun valid na search warrant. Kailangan specify mo. For example, ang isi-search ko lang is yung CAS. Ang isi-search ko lang is yung Sibea. Ganun dapat. Kasi ang lawak ng MMSU mansion eh. Ang lawak ng mansion ko. Di ba? Imagine kung hahanapin mo lahat yan. Oh. That would be very unfair to me. Okay? So, ganyan. Dapat specify. Okay? Mo mabaling i-search yung buong building. Dapat specific. Especially yung nga buildings data. You have multiple buildings in a compound. Kailangan specific yung building. Okay. Madaming nadadali dito eh. Pangalawa, ayun, dapat specific yung bagay. May example ako about sa dangerous drugs, about sa drugs. So, may search warrant. Okay? Pero ang nakalagay lang doon is ang hinahanap is shabu. Okay? Ang ECCs, ang kukolektahin is shabu. However, nung nag-seize na sila, Nag-search warrant na sila, nag-seize na sila. Ang nakita ay 3. May shabu, may marijuana, na pa party drugs. Okay, so 3. Valid ba amin digital law? Yes or no? Valid ba di pinaka-seize digital law? Or ay siya bulat naka-indicate di search warrant? Yes, valid di search warrant. Kasi, ad-exemption tayo dito when they are closely related. Or ay siya bulat naka-indicate, nagpapadad nga dangerous drugs. Nagpapadad nga illegal drugs. So, closely related isuda. Okay, so, ayan. That's a good exemption. Ayan. So, again, tandaan nyo to search warrant. Dapat may search warrant. Okay. May exemptions naman yan, of course. So, yung ano natin, kapag sadsadaan dati digisi police, tapos dumawat that driver's license. Ano yun? May search warrant ba yun? Wala, di ba? Walang search warrant. Kung walang search warrant, para maging valid yan, it should fall under these 5 categories. Okay? Incidental to arrest. Okay? Magiging valid lang ang search na walang search warrant pag nagfo-fall sa 5 dito. Take note, guys. So, incidental to arrest, meaning sinearch ka kasi nahuli ka. Okay? So, for example, may binagkong mo. You stab a person. So, immediately, they will search you for weapons, for guns, di ba? So they will seize that, they will collect that. Okay? Pag may arrest, may lawful arrest. Okay? Ang away ka, syempre, natural. Hahanapan ka ng baril, baka mapatay mo pa, di ba? Or madagdagan pa yung pinatay mo. Pangalawa, consented search. If you voluntarily agree, di ba? For example, urikap-kapan nak. Urikap-kapan nak, sir. Urikap-kapan nak, chief. Kasi pag ginawa mo yun, you are voluntarily allowing them to search you. So, valid na yun. Pangatlo, stop and freeze. Ito yung sa mga mall, di ba? Sinesearch tayo. Kung ayaw mo, edi wag kang pumasok. Di ba? So, di ba, binabody search tayo. Stop and freeze. Okay, body search. Ayan. Plain view doctrine. Ito yung madaming well, I'm not throwing shades to our policemen. They are very great public servants. Pero some of them are dito napapansin minsan. Nakakalimutan siguro dahil sa pagod. But plain view doctrine. Pwede lang nilang i-search or kunin yung mga bagay na visible to the naked eye. Paano mo nasabing visible to the naked eye? Hindi mo kailangan gamitin yung kamay mo. Hindi mo kailangan agkalkal. Amo kailangan palukatan si tawa, si car. Okay, no ano nakita na, DJ lang. Okay? So, yan. So, bawal 'yun. Pinapabuksan yung trunk ng sasakyan, yung likod ng sasakyan, bawal 'yun. Okay? It should be plain view. No ano makita da. Okay? Nga illegal. For example, the dashboard mo jay drugs. Kit nakita da, idilino ka tamti tao, hindi iawat mo di driver license. DJ lang. Yung naipakalkal na kanya, di trunk mo, di likod, di backseat, bawal na yun. Okay, so, ayan. Search of a moving vehicle. Ito yung checkpoint. Ito yung sinasabi ko. Kailangan may probable cause. Okay. Yan. Officers only look inside or use a flashlight. Hindi nila kailangan buksan yung doors. Hindi ka nila kailangan kapkapan. Bawal yan. Visual lang dapat. Tapos, done in a fixed checkpoint area. Ito, madaming mga checkpoints na nagtatago. Pumapwesto sila sa may madilim na part or yung curve na part, yung hindi mo sila makikita. Well, constitutionally speaking, bawal yun. Unconstitutional yun. Wala, hindi ko alam anong nangyari. Diba? Sabi ko ngayon nga, sinasabi ko to for those who have driver's license. Huwag nyo naman tong gamitin in a bad way. Okay? Baka may driver license, yung ko na kayo lang. Pero, di ba, pag sa daan na kayo ti police, Dagos da nga damagen ti diverse license yo, di ba? Kitaig man di diverse license mo, sir. Bawal yun. Okay? Unless mayroon kang violation. Unless mayroon kang probable cause. For example, par DJ headlight mo, no DJ nakamotor, awan helmet mo. Yung mga bagay na ganun, yung obvious na may violation ka, doon lang pwedeng hilingin yung driver's license. Ayan, so, daming problema dyan, di ba? So, yan. Before nyo ibigay yung driver's license nyo, tanongin nyo muna kung may probable cause sila, kung may kasalanan ka ba. Basta do it in a respectful way, Huwag magmayabang. Okay. Ayan, and wait, nag-stickin. Ayan, freedom of expression and speech. The right to publicly and truthfully express. Dapat makatotohanan, Ito yung limitation. Pwede mong sabihin kung anong gusto mo, anong opinion mo, pwede mong sabihin yan. As long as makatotohanan, tama yun. Totoo yun. Kasi kung hindi yan totoo, well, may consequences yan. Okay? Don't be like Robin. You have a freedom of expression. Okay? You can say what you want as long as it's truthful. Hindi na gumagalaw. Ayan. So, ano yung mga freedom of expression? Madami yan. Hindi lang yung literal na sinasabi or sinusulat. Pati yung mga symbolic acts like protesting, yung mga karatula, mga ribbons, ayan. Lahat yan. Mga pins, lahat yan. Part ng freedom of expression speech. Yung mga pinapanood natin, yung mga films, music videos, ayan, lahat yan ay part nito. Okay. Ayan. And ito, limitations. Of course, there's a limitation. Kapag nakakasira yan sa public safety, sa morals, or sa health, or sa kaayusan sa lipunan natin, of course, pagbabawalan yan. Diba? Ayan. A good example of that is MTRCB. Although may freedom of expression tayo, pwede mong palabas, pwede mong panoorin lahat ng gusto mo. Siyempre, may limitation yan. MTRCB, matingma, legway, karahasan, sexual horror, or droga, bawal yan. Regulated yan. Diba? Ayan. So, ano yung mga hindi covered ng freedom of expression? Hate speech. Okay? So, literal na you hate people based on their sex, based on their gender identity, based on their ethnicity, based on their color, based on their weight. Ayan. Bawal yan, hate speech. Defamation or libel, yung nagsasabi ka ng hindi naman totoo. Ni kastoy, ket, nakitak, at kabit na, ganun. Yung mga chismoso, pwedeng pumasok dito. So, beware, guys. Okay. Inciting sedition or rebellion. Sabi mo, well, may right ka to express your complaint against the government. Pero hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na, pasabugan nila ta deta Malacanangin. Pasabugan nila ta MMS yun. Hindi yun. Ayan, bawal yun. And of course, obscenity or pornography, of course, bawal yan. Diba? Ayan. Remember, freedom of speech does not mean freedom from consequences. Ayan. Pwede mong sabihin lahat ng gusto mo, but be careful of the consequences. Remember this one. The limitations and those that are not covered. Ayan. And of course, freedom of religion. Matatapos na yan. May mga nakikinig pa ba dyan? Ayan. Well, matakot kayo dito. Diba? Tignan natin, sabi ni Lord. Okay. May the Lord be with us. Okay, so take note, guys. Freedom to believe is absolute. Okay? Absolute yan. Kung gusto mong gawing Diyos sino ba? Kung gusto mong gawing Diyos si Taeyong, kung gusto mong gawing Diyos si Ayu, kung gusto mong gawing Diyos si Sana, diba? Sino pa ba? Kung gusto mong gawing Diyos ang presidente, ang vice president, bahala ka. Kung Diyos mo si Satanas, okay lang. Okay, that's your freedom of religion, specifically freedom to believe. However, freedom to act on belief is limited, regulated yan. Oh, for example, yun nga, okay lang nga Diyos mo ni Satanas. Numamati ka ng Satanas ng isang Diyos mo, awang bibiyang ti state ka niyam. However, no agaramid ka ti action nga, o ganito, mag-human sacrifice tayo. Kumuha tayo ng mga Sibeya students at sunugin natin sa harap ng MMSU Sunken Garden para lahat tayo pumasa this semester. Lahat tayo graduate at papasa sa board exam. Okay, gagawin ba natin yon? Sayang, di ba? Papasa na lahat tayo sana. Okay. But bawal yun, di ba? Bawal yun. So, that's the point here. Okay? Kung makakasama yan, if it will cause direct harm to other people, bawal yan. May ano dito, for example, may mga religion tayo na hindi sila kumakanta ng lupang hinirang natin, hindi sila naglalagay ng kamay sa dibdib nila tuwing kumakanta tayo ng flag ceremony. Allowed yan because you have the freedom of religion. Hindi naman nakakasama yun, wala ka namang sinasaktan, so allowed yun. Okay? May mga may mga religion din na hindi ka bumoboto, na hindi sila pwedeng sumali sa mga organization, hindi sila pwedeng mag-join sa mga program. Di ba may mga ganun? Freedom to act on belief yun. Pwede lang yun kasi wala naman silang sinasaktan. They do not harm other people naman. Okay? So ito din. Government cannot favor or discriminate against religions. And lastly, parang extend ako sorry. Liberty of abode and movement. Ayan. In other words, right to travel. Okay? Sana wala na tong right na to, no? Para pag Pasko, pag Burmans, mahanap we can easily find our ninongs and ninangs. Kasi pag, 'di ba, pag Burmans, nagbabakasyon, umaalis sila, tinataguan nila tayo. So, sana wala na lang tong right na to, no? Okay? Ayan. And another one is yung movement. Yung mga persona non grata na yan. Yung example is Luca Vega. And recently yung sinasabi si Vice Ganda na gagawin ng persona non grata sa Davao dahil sa joke niya sa jet ski holiday. Free trip to The Hague by ICC. And sinabi niya yun. Well, walang effect yun. Persona non grata ka man, EJ Davao, for example, mabaling ka na tao man, EJ Davao. O mabaling mag-prevent ka niya. Okay? Ni Luca Vega, makapanlata dyan, Manila. Walang problema yon. Okay? Parang ano lang yan, parang eme-eme lang yan ng mga politicians. Para may masabi lang, para may gawa lang. Pero walang effect yan. Okay? So, ayan. So, punta na tayo sa voters education. So, madali na lang to, sorry. 5 minutes to. Well, late time nag-start. So, ayan. Voters education. So, third part na tayo. So, huminga tayo ng malalim. Okay? Yung natutulog yung katabi, sampalin mo. Okay? Para magising siya sa katotohanan na hindi na siya mahal ng crush niya. Joke lang. Okay. Nagre-relapse lang sa tuwin. Di nang nag-comment at nandito ako. Okay. Si mga mag-design, nandito ako. Anyway, suffrage is the right of citizens to vote in elections. Take note hindi lang siya right, pero duty din natin siya. Remember that we are a democratic country. Ang kapangyarihan nasa taong bayan, therefore, kailangan nating bumoto. Okay, sabihin mo yan sa katabi mo, sa seatmate mo. Okay? Sabihin mo sa kanya, kailangan mong bumoto. We need to vote. Okay? Ayan. Who can vote? Ayan. So, i-connect na natin from our previous constitutions to the present one. Ano yung pinagbago? So, again, of course, Filipino citizen, malamang, di ba? At least 18 years old. So, bumaba na. Dati nung 1935, 21, ngayon 18 na. Ito, other qualifications. Wala na yun yung able to read. Able to read and write, wala na yun. Lahat tayo pwedeng bumoto. May karapatang bumoto. Disqualification to vote, ito, yung mga serious crimes. Okay? Or yung mga insane or incompetent. Malamang, alangan, botos de gizay. Diba? So, why voting is important? Okay, VAD. May ano ko dito, may acronym ko VAD. To not vote is VAD. Okay? V, voice of the people. Again, sabi ko nga, your vote, your power. Sovereignty resides in the people. Ang kapangyarihan ng bansa natin nasa taong bayan. Exercise that one. Accountability. Ano ba? If we don't vote wisely, kung hindi tayo boboto ng tama, puro corrupt na lang ang nasa ano natin, government natin. Ba? Papayagan ba natin yon? Of course, hindi dapat. And of course, democracy in action. Voting is the lifeblood of a democratic government. Ayan, hindi taxation ang lifeblood ng government, sabi ng mga Sibeya. But in my case, voting is the lifeblood of a democratic government. Okay, so, ayan. Tandaan nyo to, why voting is important, we are the voice. We hold the power. We should be accountable. Kung naghihirap ang bansa natin, kasalanan natin, hindi tayo bumuboto ng tama. Okay? Bakit ganyan ang mga politicians natin? Bakit walang improvement sa Pilipinas? Bakit kailangan nating umalis sa abroad para magtrabaho, para magkaroon ng mas maayos na standard of living? It's because we do not hold ourselves accountable. And of course, democracy in action. Napaka-important yan. Walang saysay ang 1986 revolution kung hindi tayo boboto. Walang saysay ang ginawa ni Rizal kung hindi tayo boboto. Walang saysay ang ginawa ni Quezon kung hindi tayo boboto. Walang saysay yung pinaglaban natin ng World War II kung hindi tayo boboto. So, bumoto tayo, guys. Smart voting, okay? Smart. Study, morals, actions, responsibility, and truthfulness. Study the candidates. Okay? Basically, we should know their backgrounds. Ayan. Platform and track record. Okay? Kailangan alamin natin, may plataforma ba yan? Diba? Kung tutuusin, mas maganda pa nga yung election natin sa school, di ba? Yung mga organization natin, yung mga student council natin, napakaganda ng platform nila, very specific. Titignan natin yung track record nila, talagang mga community leaders, mga cum laudes, running for cum laudes, magna cum laudes, di ba? Gaganda ng track record nila, magagaling, masisipag, matatalino, pero paano na sa natin, sa government natin? hindi yung sino yung pinakadaming shows, hindi yung pinakamadaming kantang sinulat, di ba? Hindi yung pasayaw-sayaw ka lang, pabudots-budots ka lang. Di ba? May mga pabudots-budots, pakanta-kanta lang, di ba? Yung isang rhetoric, galing, di ba? Parang professor lang. Diba? Anong solusyon sa poverty, traffic sa Pilipinas? Parang professor, no? Anong solution? Ikaw, tatanungin kita. Hindi ganon, di ba? We have to study our candidates. Well, I'm not naming persons, This applies to everyone. Pangalawa, morals and values. Do they respect human rights and the law? Ayan. Big deal ito ngayon kasi may mga politicians na sinasabi na okay lang pumatay ng mga kriminal. Well, kung I understand the point, di ba? Kasi naman masama sila. Pero slippery slope yan. Kung hayaan natin na hindi sila magta-trial, paano na yung mga inosente, yung mga na-blame lang, di ba? Where do we see the boundary, the fine boundary kung sinong innocent at criminal talaga kung wala tayong trial? Kung hayaan na lang natin na shoot, di ba? Shoot and kill, di ba? Ayan. And law, di ba? Kailangan pag sinabi nating law, guys, hindi lang domestic law. May mga tinatawag tayong international law, such as the Rome Statute, the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, the Geneva Convention. Yung mga yun applicable sa Pilipinas. Nating kakalimutan yun. Those are also laws. Okay? Madaming politicians ngayon na hindi alam, na ayaw maniwala or ayaw respetuhin yun. And of course, actions, not words. Diba? Ilang beses na tayong broken, ilang beses na tayo nakakita or nakaranas ng mga broken promises. Diba? Akala ko lang mga ano lang mga jowa nyo lang ang mga may nagbibigay ng broken promises. Mga politicians din pala. So, aray ko, di ba? Aray ko talaga. Ayan. Kupal. Boss. Ay, responsibility. Will they serve the people or just themselves? Di ba? So, di ba yung joke ngayon, how to be a DPWH contractor? Di ba? Chamba yun. Chamba. The CUI students are very lucky actually. Nagre-regret nga ako ng decision ko sa buhay. Hindi dapat ako nag-sociology Sakit lang to sa ulo. Dapat nag-engineering ako. Diba? Diba, contractor na sana ako ngayon. Diba? Wala na sanang flood control sa Batak, di ba? Okay. Punta na dapat sa mga luxury cars ko ngayon. And of course, truthfulness. Avoid those who spread lies. Ang daming disinformation, misinformation, fake news, especially in TikTok, guys. TikTok, beware. Tignan niyo yung mga fake news. One way to detect fake news, i-visit niyo yung mga nagko-comment or yung nag-post. Kung makita niyo isa lang yung laman or parang account ng bata or account ng hindi educated, well, fake news yan. Diba? Vote buying, that's very common now. Hindi na nakatago ang vote buying Pati pulisan is nagbantay. Well, I'm speaking again, generally speaking. Wala akong pinu-point out. But again, alam nyo yan, vote buying is so rampant. Hindi na nakatago. Very obvious na. And what are we doing? Okay, so again, remember, smart voting. Study the candidate.